It's Chef Shirley here at Heart and Soul, the hottest, newest soul food spot here in Fayetteville, North Carolina. 4808 Randall Street, Suite 111. This right here. We cook from the heart for your soul. Guarantee y'all, I'ma warm y'all soul. Guarantee y'all. Come on. I'll go eat with the rest, eat with the best. It's a guarantee. You will not be disappointed. Guarantee.
When your heart is raised, and speed of light. When your heart is raised, and speed of light. Yeah, I'll keep you safe. Yeah, I'll keep you safe. I'll never let you go. When your heart is raised and raising at the speed of light. You feel like you got nowhere else to go.
Okay, so here's a picture of Jake Paul giving Tyron Woodley a Rolex right before their boxing rematch. And after Jake Paul won the match, in a press conference, a reporter asks him about giving Rolexes to other opponents, and here's what he said.
I guess, I don't know. Do you want a Rolex? I can get you one. I'm gonna get him a Rolex. Will you get his email? Alright, what's your name? Peter Blake. You're gonna look really good with a Rolex on.
So this is the reporter Peter Blake, and he actually runs NSPN. And during one of those shows, he actually got a call from Jake Paul's team.
And we got the call right on air, and the guy said, we're going to send you the Rolex.
And to literally everyone's surprise, the watch actually showed up in a box signed by Jake Paul. There's the watch right there. It's a Datejust 41. And when I looked it up online, it was retailing for about $12,000, but Peter Blake had it appraised and it could be worth up to $20,000. So either way, it's still one heck of a Christmas present from Jake Paul.
Ladies and gentlemen, this your journey in Jarrell's journal. Say it now, stand up. Nothing less but the best. This your journey in Jarrell's journal. Say it now, stand up. All over the globe. This your journey in Jarrell's journal. 2-6. In city, stand up. 2-6. This your journey in Jarrell's journal. Let's go.
Bring it with me, the source of your information. Created to cover all sorts of sports and many players. In the making, there is none other like it. From the majors to the minors, it's tailored to be enlightening. To politic with the globe and unfold an athletic platform for the world to behold. Stay tuned as I cover your thoughts and views. Innovating a structure to stand taller for the player of the day, making way for tomorrow. Consistent content distributed with quality as passions of the youth get used, creating prodigies. The cornerstone for the call-ins and interviews, opinions, countdowns, trivia's the latest news. Bearing gifts, so this from me to you. Guaranteed to be what you don't want to miss. So have a seat, cause I'm back.
And I'm back. Welcome to Jarrell's Journal Sports Podcast, where we just focus on ethics and decision making in the sports world. Happy 2022 is our first show of the new year. I am excited to be here. Praying for continued blessings to everyone. Hope everyone's having a great start to this beautiful year. Today I'm excited. I have a friend of mine who's made some national headlines with his TV show, his radio show, and he is with TSW, the Sports Web. His name is Peter Blake. He's going to come through. He's going to chop it up with me about all the new sports topics that happened this week. And you're also going to be able to learn more about him and what he has going on and some of his future ventures. But before we do start, I want you to do me a favor. I want you to go as an icon on the bottom right side of your page. I want you to click and share this to everyone that you can right quick. If you would like to comment, we'll be able to address some of your questions live on here. And we look forward to hearing from you. Other than that, I want you to put your hands together at home and help me welcome my guy, Peter Blake, my man.
What's going on, man? How you doing? Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Great sports landscape going on right now. We got playoff games on Saturday and Sunday, playoff implications.
Man.
And of course, I'm in the Bay Area getting ready for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to do some big things versus the Carolina Panthers.
And it's only right. Carolina and Tampa is here to represent our prospective states. So we definitely will talk about that in just a few. I love the energy. First of all, thank you for coming on. I truly appreciate it. How have you been holding up? You know, we're getting back to the times of where it kind of started in COVID, man. How you holding up over there in Tampa, man?
I'm doing great. Doing great. Found this streaming platform here, and I love St. Pete, able to do shows Monday and Wednesday, any given time I want to. And I always say three things here when I start my show. Bring your passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. And I feel like, look, if you don't live by that in your life, then what are you doing sports broadcasting in the first place? So it's been a wild ride with Jake Paul and the Bucks and Tampa Bay Lightning. There's so much sports here down, and as we call it, Tampa Bay. So I've been pretty busy, to say the least. Yeah.
Now, viewers, if you haven't already acknowledged it, this is a professional. I'm talking about top of the line. I love the energy. I love the passion. And I can't wait to talk a little bit of sports about you. But before we do, for my viewers who don't know about you or haven't heard about you, could you just tell me a little bit about yourself, how long you've been in the sports arena, and the title of your show and where they can catch you?
Well, absolutely. It's a Sports Web. It's the evolution of sports talk television. It's a cross between a TV and radio show. It's on I Love St. Pete. Also like and subscribe the Sports Web on YouTube. And I've been in this business for, I would say, about 10, 15 years, off and on, doing some radio here locally, 1010 AM, WTAN 1340 AM. I actually started out first radio show with Jenna Lane, who's with ESPN. So been around a little bit, trying to find my way, trying to find my niche, if you will. And try to kind of create something that's different, where it's interactive with fans, where you can talk with them and text with them and get phone calls and have sound effects like this. Woo! I mean, I know you're Carolina right there. You got to get the nature board. And then, of course, we hold up the roll right there. But I just love this business. And I feel like there's so many cookie cutter shows out there. They do their thing. I've tried to kind of, step out of the box. I've watched your show before. You do a hell of a job. That's why I came on it in the first place. So, I'm ready to talk some sports and ready to do it. That's me. What about you?
Man, first of all, thank you, man. And I love, like I said, I love the energy. I'm excited to be on with you. Just a little bit about myself. I'm Jarrell Heslop, sports consultant. I help out with ethics and decision-making amongst athletes. So we want to prevent athletes from getting on or straying from off-field troubles and being more of an asset to the organization. So the investment that the organization has in players, they can say that, hey, We've given them all the professional development they needed and the proper resources. So if they do get into further trouble, we've done all we could.
I like it. I like it a lot. And speaking of that, this week, the big story down here and nationally has been what? Antonio Brown. I mean,
man, let's get it. So what was your first thought? So if you don't know what we're talking about, viewers, last NFL play week, that was week 17. I'm chilling in bed, watching multiple games, playing a little fantasy football on FanDuel. And all of a sudden, I just started getting all these notifications. Did you see that? Did you see that? So obviously, Antonio Brown stripped down, took off his pads, threw them on the bench, went down to his shirt, threw his gloves, his shirts in the stands to the fans, and pieced out and left the organization. What was your first reaction to that? Because since then, we've seen so many different variations to this story of what's been going on. So what's your play on that or take on that, Peter?
I've never seen that in the over 30 years of watching football. In fact, I was watching it with a friend, Harry the Greek, professional handicapper extraordinaire, 1252 Chicago Sports. Got to shout him out because the guy knows how to make you some money. So get with him, Harry the Greek there. Tell him I sent you. I'm watching the game. The sound is not on because we're switching back and forth. And I thought they were doing like a pregame, callback there with Antonio Brown running without his shirt on. I didn't know this was live. I could not believe it. And at the end of the day, it comes down to this, whether he has mental problems, which it seems like he may. He basically quit on this team. He quit mid-game when they're down 24-10. That would be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the New York Jets. And, here's a player who's had his fair share of off-the-field problems. Tom Brady, the greatest of all time, stuck his neck out there on the line for this guy, and this guy does that. He basically spits in the Tampa Bay Buccaneer organization and all the players. He quit on this team. Like I said, I've never seen that in all my years of watching football, so I thought it was despicable, disgusting, every D word you could use. But at the end of the day, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers pull it out because they do have Tom Brady at the controls, and you got players there that want to win and want to do whatever it takes to make this team once again a Super Bowl champion.
Yeah, I think you said you taking the words out of my mouth. My first initial reaction was, oh, here we go. We reverted back to the old AB.
Right.
More antics. So, like you said, I thought he did a pretty good 2 years. I'll give him one plus over there in New England with Tom.
Sure.
Maintaining his behavior and trying to, maintain the work relationship. I'll leave it at that work relationship that he's built with Tom Brady, because we can't deny how great of an athlete Antonio Brown is. Matter of fact, I was at the Tampa Bay and Carolina game 2 weeks ago on 26, and I'm an athletic guy. The agility that he has, I'm talking pre-workout. I'm talking about warm-ups. He is amazing. He's one of our top 5 players as far as wide receivers we've seen in a long time. Sure. But there's another aspect that he battles with, and that is his mental health. He's run into so many incidents where this is just like the needle that's broken the camel's back. Now, my other question for you, Peter, is there were many reports that come out. First, we heard that the team cut him on the sideline, and he reacted in such a way because of that. Then we also heard different variations of that, that they didn't cut him. He was mad about his playing time and his signing bonus. Recent report said that it was a hoax, and he actually had a woman, influencer that he brought into the hotel, had a rendezvous with her and told her he was going to show out. We've just heard so much. What can we believe, or what direction? What do you believe from here on out? And do you think this is it for Antonio Brown?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely it, because how can you look if you're Antonio Brown, how can you go to an owner and a general manager and say, give me another chance after that display? And then on top of it, whatever team he goes to, how can those players trust him? Because he basically quit on that team. The story is him and his agent went to Jason Light, wanted $2 million in incentives guaranteed. The Bucs balked at that offer. Weeks 3 of that because of a fake vaccination card. And honestly, at the end of the day, he should have been cut then. But because he is so talented, and that's never been a problem. That's never been the thing with Antonio Brown. The talent has always been there. He's a dynamic playmaker who can change the game. But because the Bucs have had their injuries with the Chris Godwin and a Mike Evans and even a Gronkowski, they're depending on him. So you put your neck out there on the line. You seen by a doctor, their doctor, 2 times he canceled on it. They knew he would be in New York. They were trying to get him looked at. Also, the story was if he did go on IR, they were going to pay him the rest of the salary. So this whole thing about the Bucs and cover up injury situation. They're very careful with their injuries to their players. They've done that all year long, whether it was Gronk, SMB, Carlton Davis. So there's no injury cover up here. It's just AB being AB. You look back at his past, it's a pattern of behavior. He's done that with the Steelers. He's done that with the Raiders. He's done that with even the Patriots with all the allegations. You look at him, trying to have a fake helmet with the Raiders.
Yeah, I remember that.
Vaccination card, allegations off the field, calling himself Mr. Big Chest. I mean, it's all about AB, and I get it. He may have some mental problems, but at the end of the day, the NFL, the organizations that are signing this guy, they need to not sign him. AB needs to get himself help, and if he doesn't get help, then there's nobody to blame but AB at the end of the day. And, hearing him talk about a couple of weeks ago to the press, the media causes all the drama. No, you cause all the drama. It's AB being AB. And he is the biggest gift and curse because he has extreme talent, but at the end of the day, he cannot get out of his way with the actions on and off the field.
And I'll tell you what, and I'm going to refer back to my Jarrell Hustle sports consultant profession and put that hat on real quick. Couple things. You had your guy. Now tell your fans down there in Tampa, I call Tom Brady the GOAT. I call him Mr. GQ, always have.
Sure.
You went out there and you put AB on the line, vouched for him, got him back in the league because he was pretty much out already. But his talent.
Then here's the thing, the serious situation is NFL protocols. Like they limit women, and I'm not saying players don't do this, but again, Jarrell, it's about the priority. Do you want to win the Super Bowl? Do you want to go to the playoffs? Or do you want to infect your team with COVID at the end of the day? And obviously, once again, the priority is on AB. And that was the whole case with COVID this year. I mean, and that's what I've said. Look, you're going to most likely get it, but it's about, what's the precautions that you're taking and following the NFL protocols. And obviously this wasn't done the other night because he didn't want to be a part of it.
And that's the thing. It brings up another thing. Just because this has become to light, it brings up that you also violated NFL protocol by sneaking her into the team facility.
Sure.
So the main thing, and I know fans are tired of hearing about it, but it's something big that happened this week. Mental issues is very important. And ever since that big hit from Burluck against
Montez Perfect.
Yes, I remember that hit. That was a vicious hit.
Yeah.
And he really hasn't mentally been the same. So I would really, anybody that's close to AB, I would suggest you really be in his corner and get him some help that he needs because it's beyond football at this point. And I think the main thing, regardless of all the lies, is what TB said. TB said he left it at, I just hope he gets the help that he needs.
Yeah.
And I really think Tom had an insight of what was going on, and it might not be what AB is saying or what Bruce is saying. It's mental health.
Yeah, it's mental health. And look, they knew what they were getting, the Bucs as an organization when they signed him. BA was against it, but Tom Brady once again said, you know what? We need this guy. We need this guy to get over the hump. We have injuries to Godwin and Evans. This year you have the same thing. It's disappointing when all 3 guys are on the field. You see what would happen. And I'm not going to sit here and deny and say, Brown wasn't instrumental in that fact of them winning the Super Bowl. But at the end of the day, you not only have to be a great player on the field, but off the field. It's about community. It's about, protecting the shield, protecting the NFL, and protecting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And this whole situation has not only embarrassed the Buccaneers and Tom Brady and everybody else, but also the fan base because it's somewhat divided that fan base. There's fans out there that love AB and his talent and want to take his side. But at the end of the day, you know, it's very black and white whose fault it is. It's AB's fault, and that's it.
Great point. Great point. I didn't realize the divide in the fan base as well, because those are the stakeholders.
Look on Facebook, my friend, and sometimes it can be very toxic. But, you know, you're a sports broadcaster like myself. You got a sports talk show. You got to have that sports content. And you see these fans, and they're passionate about it. And I love that. I love the passion. I think fans got to be more passionate. And I think as sports broadcasters, we have to have a responsibility to bring that passion out of them, to push those buttons and make sure they come back to the show. That's what it's all about.
And let's segue out real quick, because we can talk all day about
all day
the help that he needs. But we are a week away from the playoffs. We are just a week away. I mean, this season went by fast, and we have a major showdown today with Dallas and the Eagles. Eagles actually making it to the wild card contention. What I want to know from you is, what are you looking for on both sides, NFC, AFC? I have two questions for you, really. What is this Eagle squad with this running game that they present? Are they a sleeper team to not take lightly? Under just blow your shoulders off, and who can go up against and knock off the hot Packers? Because the Packers are looking great. Aaron Rodgers looks great, but what team are you looking for that will give them a run for their money?
Well, you know, the Eagles, to me, Jalen Hurts, second-year quarterback, to me, I think he's the quarterback of the future. He's got to get better progressively. He's got to go through those progressions, you know, not just one read and start to run. So they're definitely interesting. I think Dallas will win that game, even though they don't have Micah Parsons, who, look, you can make a case not only rookie of the year, but defensive player of the year. Absolutely. Dallas needs to win that game in order to stay afloat there for the opportunity to get the number 2 seed. Philadelphia, to me, I think they're a couple years away. You got to build around them. They're going to have every opportunity to do that here because they're going to have multiple first-round picks coming up. So they're in a great situation. And I was talking to some Eagle fans about a week ago at the Outback Bowl, and they were saying, do you believe Jalen Hurts is the quarterback? And I say, I think he is. And I just think you need to develop him. You got to put weapons around him. You got to build an offensive line. Offensive line's not too bad. You got to build the defense, but you got to get him some weapons. You know, Jalen Reagor earlier on in this year, they could have beat the Giants. He drops a pass. That can't happen if you want to be somewhat of an elite team at that point. I don't think they're there yet. So I think it's going to take a couple years. I think Dallas beats them today, but I think the future is bright if you're a Philadelphia Eagle fan.
I totally concur. Even coming out of the draft, I was a big Hurts fan at Alabama when he lost his starting position. The mental toughness that he showed going to Oklahoma and still being a standout quarterback, I thought that was impressive. And then he took command coming in behind Wentz and being able to show spurts of, you know, what we can see in the future. Just like you said, I would love for the offensive coordinator to kind of mold what they did with Lamar Jackson and highlight his talents more and get him some help. But I think, you know, going forward in the future, like you said, he is the guy. Stick with him. You're in pretty good hands. I'm totally with you.
And I think, look, when you look at a franchise quarterback, right, and this is what you do, you know, you marry to a franchise quarterback. I always talk about relationships in sports. You know, you want to impress a woman, you tell her you want her to be your franchise quarterback. And what that basically means is you want to build around them. And that's what the Eagles have to do with the Hurts. They have to build around him. They have to buy into him. And if they can do that, you look at him and dealing with adverse situations. That's the kind of quarterback I want. Any quarterback with a great team around him can win. But when the chips are down, when you have injuries, that is the true definition of finding out if you have a quarterback that's a franchise or just a run-of-the-mill type of guy.
Hey, man, I did not know you rap as well, man. I did not know you rap.
Hey, man, look, I used to DJ. People saying anytime you got the GOAT, you're in good hands.
And you know what? You know what? With the Tampa Bay, one thing that they illuminated with their play was
scrimmage at that juncture. So the Bucs did a good job of putting pressure. They got to get those players back this year. I mean, that has been their Achilles heel for the majority of the year. You haven't had the back end that's been healthy. Now you've got some of the guys up front in the JPP who look, I think he's dealing with a big-time bad injury with the shoulder. He has 49ers. The Rams are in that 2 slot because they have the head-to-head advantage over the Bucs. They beat them earlier on in the year. Rams are a scary team too because look, you can't turn over the ball with Matt Stafford. He hasn't been able to do that. Defense has to step up and be better. Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey,
Von Miller,
Von Makers out of Florida State.
Yeah.
No kid watched him. He's been hurt the majority of the year. If he can come back and give them some type of balance. I always talk about it. Balance to the Bucs, balance to any running game. But if you can get that, what do we know here, Jarrell? Your running game, defense, that travels. You can go to Green Bay. You can go to a cool weather environment, and you can win games. You don't necessarily have to have all that high-powered offense. What you have to have is a running game and a defense. If you have those
hit him in the mouth. Hit him in the mouth. And I think that's what
too many miles on those tires. And
you know the stigma of a running back, 4 to 5 years, man. 4 to 5 years.
That's
but
it.
Real quick, because we're limited on time. Let's talk about 2 more things, and then we're going to close it out. We got a big the championship coming up. Alabama versus Georgia. Just real quick, what do you expect to see? Because I'm just going to put it out there. I thought Georgia's defense was going to blow out Alabama's offense. And then I had to realize that Alabama is a step above everybody. And last week we saw Alabama actually get a little, competition, but it didn't last. The durability and endurance didn't last. So what do you look for in this championship as they're going to reseed Georgia again for the second time for the
maybe of all time? They've got talent. They've got the Heisman Trophy winner at quarterback. I like the Alabama Crimson Tide to get it done. I still don't have confidence that this Georgia offense can do what he did against Michigan. So I like Alabama to win the national championship.
I like it. I think I'm with you. And it tells or it shows.
Yeah.
I would love to see a good game though, with Georgia being able to play against them just a few weeks ago, that you're going against some men on that offensive line. And then stop the running game. If they can stop the running game, it'll give them the DBs a lot more help than they had the last game. Bennett really has to show out. He's been up and down. The Georgia quarterback, he's been up and down all year. Even though he had 300 yards in their last meeting, he's going to have to do a lot better at protecting the ball and opening up the field a little more.
No, I agree. And it's a great story with Bennett because he always dreamed about being the starting quarterback of the Georgia Bulldogs. But at the end of the day, Nick Saban ruins dreams and he calls his nightmares, and that defense is ready for Georgia.
I'm heavy with football season here. I really can't even get into the NBA until football season. I mean, the Super Bowl is over. But I am a Steph Curry fan, North Carolina. Who is the most influential and most impactful amongst Clay and Kyrie for both of their squads?
Well, I think Thompson can get healthy. They have DeAndre Wiggins right now working with that team. They could be very dangerous. In fact, they could be the top team out in the West. I mean, of course, you've got Denver and you've got Utah and teams like that. And even the Lakers, they don't have enough shooters to me for the Lakers.
Yeah,
talk about LeBron James. They don't have enough shooters, and you got to shoot to a super team, if you will. Of course, they had Durant. Now Durant's gone. Kyrie, of course, with the Nets, with the vaccination situation that hasn't, I don't know how that's going to work out, but they could be a super team in the Eastern Conference. I like Steph Curry, though. I don't know how you go against him.
Yeah, I'm same way. As far as Clay returning, it was reported that Clay has been way more vocal. Clay is a shy guy. So when they would get blown out last year, Clay was actually in the locker room giving it to the guys. So I love that passion. I think he's ready to get back and show guys he is who we don't think he is, as far as being underrated, being under the radar, and Seth being the marquee player to the Western Conference. And I think they're going to be a team to reckon with as far as championship contenders versus the Nets and Kyrie.
Yeah, really. And I'll tell you right now, where we talked about the Nets and Milwaukee, and you should, and also Philadelphia, but the team that everybody should look out for, the Chicago Bulls. They could be a scary young team that gives some of those super teams something to be worried about. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, you're exactly right. Until football season ends, I'm not necessarily just centered on the NBA. I'm watching. I got my peripheral vision, if you will, on the NBA. But it's
like what happened. So just a backdrop. If you've been living under a rock, Jake Paul fought last month. He gifted his opponent.
Didn't even know if I was going to get credentialed or not. Showtime got me credentialed, get into the fight. Actually, my first boxing match, and get to go how he was going to give a Rolex to Tyron Woodley, which he did. And he said, it's time for me to knock you out. So I said, you know what? I'm going to ask that question and see what kind of response. I had no plans that it was going to work out. And it worked out. And he goes, hey, you know, you want a Rolex? And I said, sure, I'll take a Rolex. What's your name? I'm Peter Blake. And I'm doing a live show a couple days later. But before that, I'm going viral. Everybody's like, who the hell is Peter Blake? I'm like, you're a sports rep. It's very cool. Wasn't sure if I was going to go with my co-host, Harry the Greek, on that Monday night. And he said, you know what? You should go. And I said, okay, we'll go live. We'll go live. And this guy by the name of Marcos calls in. At the time, it's Marcos Guerrero, but we think it's just a prank call. So we're playing around. He calls in and goes, yeah, I'm Jake Paul's assistant. We want to verify the address so we can send you the Rolex. And sure enough, it arrived 2 days later with Jake Paul's signature on it. And he is a man of his word. And I tell you what, doing more research about Jake Paul, look, you may not like his antics, but what he's trying to basically do at the end of the day, he's trying to get UFC fighters. He's trying to get boxing more on the map and get fighters paid more money, especially in the UFC. And I kind of like what he's doing. He's thinking outside the box. I kind of think that's what I'm doing here with the sports web. You know, it's not always about if you have a TV or radio station, it's what you can create at the end of the day. And I couldn't believe that question created so much of what we're talking about right now. It's amazing. Love it.
And actually, I thought it was so awesome, man. I kept looking at it, and like you said, it just blew up overnight. So I thought that was perfect, man. And you know what? I would have told him, hey, Jake, now, you know, I need to be your official guy for all news because I love boxing now.
Right.
Yeah, man, I love boxing. So that's one thing that I'm definitely about to jump more and be more of a presence in. You know, I'm a contact sport guy. So, you know,
sure.
Fighting and boxing, I love it. And I think, you know, matches are they're causing so much attention now. And like you said, I love what he's doing. You have to be innovative to sustain in any kind of business. So I like it. I love what he's doing.
And look, he's a YouTube influencer. He has, what, 20 million subscribers, maybe more than that. So he knows what he's doing at the end of the day. And I love to have him on the show, trying to get him on the sports web on I Love St. Pete, other various platforms. And if he ever wants a sports broadcaster to talk sports with him, I'm right here, Jake. I'm right here, buddy. I got the Rolex on. I do look good in the Rolex, and I'm ready to bring that passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense.
Hey, man, Peter, anytime you want to come on Jarrell's Journal, you know you're definitely welcome. We have to have you come back with some of our other guys that we do talk about weekly sports on you and your other constituents because I love the passion. I love your knowledge. And it was a blessing to have you on today, man. Would you like to leave our viewers with any last words before we get up out of here?
Yeah, guys, if you want to tune into the evolution of sports talk television, and what is it? Is it a radio show? Is it a TV show? It's both. It's on Monday and Wednesdays. Also do a pre-half and post-game edition for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, getting you ready. That's all on I Love St. Pete. Of course, like and subscribe the Sports Web on YouTube, and do 3 things here on this Saturdays. We're getting ready for NFL football. Bring your passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. The Rolex Reporter.
Rolly wearing. My man. Hey, look, hey, I appreciate you and continue blessings to everything you do. If you give me 2 seconds, I'm going to pay some bills real quick, and then I'm going to get back with you, okay?
Sounds good.
All right. So that was Mr. Peter Blake. You saw him. When I talk about professional, you're talking about big time, showtime. That's him. Keep your eye out for him. Watch him. He gave you his drops where you can catch him at. Be on the lookout for him because he has a lot of things coming in the near future. Today was sponsored by Fit for Life. If you during this time when I'm out working out, looking for a gym, I would love good customer service. That's one of my biggest things, customer service. Also, we're going through COVID again. I'm looking for a place where I can feel comfortable, especially where, at a gym where I want to relieve stress. So if you're looking for that, and you're not looking for a pack, or even with females where you're not looked and gawked at by men, Fit for Life is for you. If you're in North Carolina or you're coming to North Carolina to visit, out, Fit for Life is definitely the place for you. So real quick, let's pay some bills before we even exit out.
When your heart is when your heart is yeah, I'll keep you safe. Yeah, I'll keep you safe. I'll never let you go. When your heart is racing at the speed of light, and you feel like you got nowhere else to go.
All right. So thank you again for tuning in. This was an awesome show. I had a great time. I love the energy that Peter brought. Tune in, stay plugged in to my Facebook, to my business page. We have a lot of great guests coming up in the next week and here on out. We have a couple NFL prospects that are coming up that are getting ready for the draft. And I look forward to seeing what the mindset is and to seeing what kind of character they display. So stay tuned, stay plugged in, and I will see you very soon. Continue blessings, everyone.
Ladies and gentlemen, this your journey in Jarrell's journal. Vietnam, yeah, that's right. Nothing less but the best. This your journey in Jarrell's journal. Vietnam, stand up all over the globe. This your journey in Jarrell's journal. 2-6. In city, stand up. 2-6. This your journey in Jarrell's journal. Let's go.
Bring it with me, the source of your information, created to cover all sorts of sports and many players. In the making, there is none other like it. From the majors to the minors, it's tailored to be enlightening. To politic with the globe and unfold an athletic platform for the world to behold. Stay tuned as I cover your thoughts and views. Innovating a structure to stand taller for the player of the day, making way for tomorrow. Consistent content distributed with quality as passions of the youth get used, creating prodigies. The cornerstone for the call-ins and interviews, opinions, countdowns, trivia's the latest news. Bearing gifts, so this from me to you, guaranteed to be what you don't want to miss. So have a seat, cause I'm back.